Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. And I want to say Shalom to Akman Alkwat out there, pursuing this truth diligently. Coming at you once again with another lesson. I don't have a title for this one yet, but it's basically dealing with the fair that happened in 1893 in Chicago, also known as the world's Columbian Exposition. And yeah, man, so we're just gonna get into it. A lot of strange things, and Spirit was on me to talk about it. I was researching it, I think, not too long ago. Now I remember hearing about it a while back ago, but I think the brothers talked about it quite some time ago. But I was researching it again just recently, and then I was looking for a topic for today, and I said, let's go ahead and talk a little bit more, not more, but let's go ahead and talk a bit about this world's Columbian Exposition and some of the weird and strange stuff, just Esau's lies, right? So for those that aren't familiar with it, I'm just going to go ahead and read it a bit. It says, the world's Columbian Exposition, also known as the Chicago World's Fair, was a World's Fair held in Chicago from May 5th to October 31st, 1893, to celebrate the 400th anniversary of Christopher Columbus's arrival in the New World in 1492. It says the centerpiece of the fair, held in Jackson Park, was a large water pool representing the voyage that Columbus took to the New World. Chicago won the right to host the fair over several competing cities, including New York City, Washington, D.C., and St. Louis. The exposition was an influential social and cultural event and had a profound effect on American architecture, the arts, American industrial optimism, and Chicago's image. So you can see this is a image from that said event. I'm probably going to put this as the thumbnail. All right, you see these buildings here. There you go, and you see these bowls. Those are quite interesting. Those could be representative of those horned idols. And you see, the large open water area here. Over here you see horses, and you can see, a quite large crowd. Now this seems to be some Roman figure statue here. I'm not sure exactly who it is. I could probably plug it into ChatGPT and find out. In the background you see all these different things here. Now these buildings have all been since disassembled, because these were just temporary, as they said they were. These were just temporary buildings, as they noted. Some people believe that these buildings were found, instead, and they actually existed there for some time, and then they demolished them because of one reason or another. Who knows? There's a lot of what they would call conspiracy theories centered behind this whole event, and a lot of them are true, and a lot of them could be false. Okay, you just gotta weigh it through the Spirit. So it says the layout of the Chicago Columbian Exposition was predominantly designed by John Wellborn Root, Daniel Burnham, Frederick Law Olmsted, and Charles B. Atwood. It was the prototype of what Burnham and his colleagues thought a city should be. It was designed to follow Beaux Arts, or however you pronounce that, principles of design, namely neoclassical architecture. It says principles based on symmetry, balance, and splendor. The color of the material generally used to cover the building's facades, white staff, gave the fairgrounds its nickname, the White City. Many prominent architects designed its 14 great buildings. Artists and musicians were featured in exhibits, and many also made depictions and works of art inspired by the exposition. The exposition covered 690 acres, featuring nearly 200 new but temporary buildings of predominantly neoclassical architectures, canals, lagoons, and people and cultures from 46 countries. More than 27 million people attended the exposition during its 6-month run. Its scale and grandeur far exceeded the other world fairs, and it became a symbol of emerging American exceptionalism, much in the same way that the Great Exhibition became a symbol of the Victorian-era United Kingdom. So, These buildings were all temporary. Can you believe that? This building over here, all temporary. And mind you, these are built out of like the same type of materials. It's like the White House and stuff. Look, the big grand canals and statues and 14 buildings, they said, and all these things. Masterpieces of architecture, really. Gone, because they were just temporary. That's all, just temporary. And it just doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense, right? So let's go ahead and keep on keeping on. Now, I'm going to actually plug this in. I'm actually see if I can do it without that. I'm going to go up here. Who was the giant statue at the... Okay. On the Wikipedia page about the Chicago World Fair 1893, was it? 1893, yeah. Who is the figure represented as a statue? The one in the main photo. Statue of the Republic. This in the same area? Does this seem to still be there? Statue is made of temporary materials and was destroyed after the fair. Temporary materials. What were these temporary materials? Interesting. This is a smaller representation. What's the symbolism? The original statue was destroyed by fire. That's the other thing. Everything burned up. What was it made out of? Plaster covered in gold leaf. That's what they say. Plaster covered in gold leaf. Interesting. It seems like a lot of work for something like that. Interesting. What about the symbols in its hands? Oh, it's a globe with an eagle perched on it. That it is. Interesting. And the other one's a torch. Kind of a weird looking torch. Doesn't really look like a torch to me, but okay. Interesting. I don't know, a lot of interesting stuff about it. And we're going to keep on getting, and we're going to grab some scriptures too. Let me get back out of here. But continuing on, let me get rid of that. We don't need that anymore because we got what that is. And go back to this. So, you know, and I'm not going to read the whole article. You can go ahead and read it if you want. A lot of different stuff about it, a lot of different photos and stuff. Here's another aerial, an aerial view. All right, this is an illustration, of course. These are some actual photos, I guess. The assassination, that was another thing. There's another one, the original Ferris wheel that was also just disappeared mysteriously. Now here's something interesting. Now this is the exhibit hall interior. Okay, I'm actually go ahead and save this photo as well. I don't want it, but I don't know, man. It just seems quite elaborate to have something so temporary. You know, for it to be something so temporary. I mean, look at this. A lot of fucking work went into this. And just to say it was temporary, all right, never to be used again. I don't know. I don't quite buy it. So, how do I... There we go. You can see, it's just, you know, apparently this was just all just temporary. I've been to things that were, you know, temporary events, and it's never as elaborate. Never as elaborate. Usually when something's temporary, they try not to put... Look at this. Look at this. Temporary, though, right? I don't know. This is the fire. When it was on fire. Burnt it to the ground. And everything just doesn't add up. It's so... Everything happened so perfectly, you know? Things being set on fire and all these different records. So, like I said, I'm not going to read through the entirety of the article on Wikipedia. Now, I just basically got a summary for some of the things. I said unexplained things that happened at the Chicago Fair of 1893. It says the Chicago's World Fair of 1893, also called the World's Columbian Exposition, was a massive event that attracted over 27 million visitors, but it had its share of mysteries, unexplained events, and eerie happenings. Here are some of the most intriguing ones. Here's one. Mysterious disappearances. People went missing at an alarming rate during the fair. Some were never seen again, while others were later found murdered. Given the sheer size of the event, it was easy for people to vanish into the crowd, but the numbers were unusually high. It's interesting that so many people were dying. Here's this. This is another thing. H.H. Holmes and the Murder Castle. Dr. H.H. Holmes, America's first known serial killer, took advantage of the fair's chaos. He built a hotel near the fairgrounds, later called the Murder Castle, where he lured victims, mostly women, before torturing and killing them. Some believe many of the missing fairgoers ended up in his torture chambers, which included soundproof rooms, gas chambers, and a crematorium. Now, I wonder if that's the same hotel that you can see right here. Or no, that's Motel Ramona. I was going to say, I wonder if that was the same one. I guess not. It says, here's another one. Nikola Tesla. Yeah, but look at this. Look at this. It says his torture chambers, which included soundproof rooms, gas chambers, and a crematorium. Again, let's get a scripture about Esau real quick here and show you who they are. This is, Now, this is talking about specifically with Israel, all right, because that's who, you know, Esau's favorite target is. But they like just killing in general. But I'm going to start from Ezekiel 35:5 because it's notable how they take our people out. Now, we got to get verse actually 1 showing you, you know, and that's why we make these videos on these devils in the first place. Ezekiel 35:1, it says, "Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it." Again, Mount Seir, all right, being where? It was the northwest region of Edom. So this is a place that Edom dwelled. Okay, and again, look at their architecture. All right, again, it's a if you go and look up that and then look up neoclassical architecture. Interesting. Esau has it. All right, the Greeks, the Romans, that's their neoclassical architecture. And mind you, the same type of architecture that this Columbian Exposition was in is Esau's. That's their style. They like it, right? So you can see it here. All right. And so that's who was dwelling in those lands. Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it. And say unto it, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, not against the mountain, but the people that are in there, all right? The Edomites, the Idumeans. And I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord. Why? Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred. Again, we talked about this hatred yesterday, this perpetual hatred, and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. All right, because they want to do all these things. All right, it says, Therefore, as I live, thus saith the Lord, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee, so that thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. So again, that's really talking about, you know, between the Edomites and us, the Israelites, how they keep killing us. But the thing is that Esau loves bloodshed. It's one of their favorite things, okay? It's specifically with us, but they'll do it to anybody that they can get their hands on. So it doesn't surprise me. And of course, this was probably some type of collaboration with the whole event too. You know, it was an all big, basically probably just one big whole experiment, all right? One big social experiment. So, number 3, Nikola Tesla's alleged secret experiments. It says Tesla was at the fair demonstrating wireless electricity. Wireless electricity. Interesting. With dramatic lighting displays, some believe he was also conducting secret experiments, possibly related to wireless energy transmission or even early radio signals. There are rumors that he may have briefly demonstrated technology that the public wasn't ready for, and it was quickly covered up. So, what, let me go and get this. Where was it? Let me go over here. Let's see if it'll elaborate. What were the demonstrations that were allegedly covered up? All right. Wireless power transmission. Okay. Death ray. Direct. What? Let's see here. Number 1, wireless power transmission. Tesla's most famous idea was the transmission of electricity without wires. At the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition, he demonstrated his work with wireless electricity using the Tesla coil. He would use this device to light up bulbs from a distance, creating a dramatic spectacle of electric power. Check this out. But that's nothing intense or crazy at all. Anyway, it says, however, some theorists claim that Tesla had a more advanced version of wireless energy transmission that was never shown to the public. This idea was tied to his later work at the Wardenclyffe Tower, where he reportedly wanted to send large amounts of energy through the atmosphere to provide free wireless electricity to the world. Some believe that this was suppressed because it threatened the business interests of energy monopolies, including J.P. Morgan, who funded the tower, but pulled support once it became clear Tesla's goal was to provide free, ubiquitous power. And that's not a theory, man. That's the type of shit that these people do. All right, they don't want anything to become free like that. They want everything to be able to be capitalized upon. Okay, and now J.P. Morgan, I believe, was another one of the ones, was the Chicago World Fair sponsored in any way by J.P. Morgan or other banking families, or did they have involvement? I believe that J.P. Morgan had direct involvement, as a matter of fact. Now, here's the thing that you need to understand. It says, yes, J.P. Morgan and other banking families had involvement at the 1893 Chicago's World Fair, also known as the World's Columbian Exposition. While the fair itself was organized by a variety of civic leaders and institutions, wealthy industrialists and bankers like J.P. Morgan played a role in financing it. Morgan and other powerful figures at the time, including steel magnates like Andrew Carnegie and railroad barons, helped fund and support the fair, especially after financial struggles leading up to the event. Which other banking families? The Rockefeller family, the Rothschilds family, the Morgans family, the DuPont family, the Vanderbilts family. Interesting. So the Rockefellers had involvement. John D. Rockefeller, the head of Standard Oil, was one of the richest men of the time, and his family had significant influence in both finance and industry. While they are the most famous for their dominance in the oil industry, their financial empire extended into banking and investments that supported various large-scale projects like the World Fair. the Rothschilds, the Morgans, the DuPont, the Vanderbilts. Interesting indeed. Like it says right here, the Morgan family, J.P. Morgan, it said Morgan himself played a key role in its success. It says the Vanderbilt's influence helped fund various infrastructure projects, and the family played a significant role in financing major events. So here it is. You have all these elites, all right, that financed this event, all right, that helped finance this event, and all this weird shit happening. Just all this weird shit. What else? Death ray. They're going back to Nikola Tesla's experiments that were here. Number 2, death ray. DEW, right? Directed energy weapons. We have those now. And remember, they still say we don't have them. And no, Maui, we don't have DEWs. That's not even a thing. But then I found an article from 2017 talking about how, yes, direct energy weapons are being tested and they are in existence, all right, from a reputable site. So what are you talking about? All this cover-up. This is why you don't trust these devils. I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to grab a scripture, and then we're going to continue on. It says, one of the most famous rumors is that Tesla developed a death ray or a direct energy weapon. In the 1930s, Tesla allegedly talked about a particle beam. Well, this isn't necessarily at the fair because that's in the 1930s. Tesla allegedly talked about a particle beam weapon that could destroy aircraft or targets at a distance. Some believe Tesla built prototypes of this technology, so maybe it was the prototype that was at the fair. There was no concrete evidence he ever did. The idea that Tesla's work was either suppressed or destroyed because it had potential military applications. So, all these different things. Of course, they're always destroyed. They're always suppressed. Think about it. Think about how all of the original stuff from the moon landing got destroyed. Think about all these different. All the things from Chicago Fair got destroyed. Why are these things always just all these miraculous things, borderline miracles of technology, right? And all these things of technological wonders and archaeological oddities. Why do they just mysteriously burn up and disappear and vanish, and they never existed, and they were suppressed, and they were never created? Why is that, man? You can't trust these devils. This is Ecclesiasticus 12:10. It says, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. His wickedness gets worse and worse. You can't trust these devils, all right? You cannot trust these devils, man. That everything burnt up, and I have a hard time believing that they built everything just out of fucking plaster. Just everything out of plaster, okay? I'm gonna just go and see. I'm gonna ask, let's see, what were the buildings at Chicago Fair 1893 made of? Staff, plaster, cement, and hemp or jute. Interesting. The material. Steel framework. Very literal whole city. It really is wild. The scale and ambition in the 1893's World Fair were mind-blowing. They even had electric lightning. Electric lightning. Oh yeah, they were making lightning. That was another thing. They were showing, early like cloud seeding stuff, right? So anyway, going back, more interesting things. The mysterious fire that destroyed records. A massive fire in 1894, just a year after the fair, destroyed most official documents and records of the exposition. Some speculate that this was intentional, either to cover up financial fraud or erase evidence of missing people and unexplained occurrences. Okay? The disappearance of the original Ferris wheel. It says the first ever Ferris wheel created for the fair mysteriously disappeared years later. After being moved and used at other events, it was finally dismantled in 1906. Some claim that parts of it secretly reused or stolen, while others think it was simply lost due to poor records. What else? The White City and paranormal activity. Who knows about this? The fairgrounds known as the White City because of the glowing white buildings, had an eerie atmosphere, especially at night. Some say glowing figures were seen roaming the grounds. Even today, people claim to see apparitions, and experience strange sensations in Jackson Park, where the fair once stood. Interesting. That's just apparitions that these Edomites see. Ghostly figures, objects moving on their own in a science museum. What else? His wireless electricity demonstrations. I asked more about inventions that seemed ahead of their time or that disappeared or seemed impossible. His wireless electricity, we already talked about that, which, is still something that isn't even possible today. On minor forms, wireless electricity, but not how apparently it was. What else? A mysterious electrical boat. All right. It says Tesla and Westinghouse supposedly unveiled an electric-powered boat that didn't need coal or gasoline, something far ahead of its time. Early, EVs, electrical vehicles. Unlike other electric boats of the era, this one was said to move without direct power sources. Some speculate Tesla was already experimenting with wireless energy transfer, but the project vanished after the fair. It vanished again. Why is everything vanishing? That vanished. This vanished. The Ferris wheel vanished. The records burnt up. Interesting. Pneumatic tube train. It says a strange train system was rumored to have been on display. A prototype that used compressed air to move carriages through tubes, eerily similar to today's Hyperloop concept. Yet the idea disappeared after the fair. Some believe the railroad industry squashed it to prevent competition. Again, anything that could involve money. Now remember, all these different one of the first targets that happened at the that shooting that happened was not Uvalde, but supermarket shooting, Texas. What was that one? It was the that wasn't it. Buffalo. It was the Buffalo. Let's see. Oop. Let me see. I'm gonna blur out some of my info that came up there. But yeah, what was it? It was at Buffalo Supermarket. Top Supermarket. Top Supermarket. Buffalo shooting. Black man invention. Wasn't it like a gasoline vehicle or something like that? Yeah. He invented an engine that ran on water. All right, engine that ran it on. And they say that Aaron Salter Jr. was killed by a mass shooter because he was working on creating a water-powered car engine. And they say, it could have been. And you never know, man. That could have been one of those events that happened like that. They say it was a racially motivated hate crime, but it could have been a cover-up as, it was a hate crime instead of, specifically taking someone out, because they do not like it when people work on things, like that. Like, for example, airless tires are a concept. Good airless tires. They have the ones now that aren't good, or making cars run off of nothing. It has been played around with, but those theories always disappear. They always disappear. Why? Because it affects the industry. And the industry, these bigling baking families and all these other people, they want their money. They need their money. So they're not a fan of it. So what else? Early moving walkways ahead of modern airports. The ones you stand on. So the fair introduced a moving sidewalk, a conveyor belt-like system to transport visitors effortlessly across long distances. While it seemed futuristic at the time, the idea faded and wasn't revived until decades later in modern airports. And this one, by the way, you can't say was a conspiracy theory, because this one was actually true. As a matter of fact, there's even pictures of it somewhere in here. Here it is. One of them, at least. All right. There you go. So, all these different things, man. A lot of big cover-ups. Big cover-ups. All right. Give me a minute while I grab a drink. These devils don't want the idea that advancement was even possible. All right, back in the days. All right, they don't even want, and again, it makes you think about what type of technology we had, back then. All right, and the technology that was even used, Perhaps even in Egypt with the pyramids. Who knows, man? So another one, the teleautograph, the predecessor to the fax machine. Inventor Elisha Gray displayed the teleautograph, a machine that could send handwritten messages over a distance, like an early fax message. Strangely, the device didn't catch on, even though it could have revolutionized communication years before fax machines became widespread. Interesting. Why is that? You think that something like that should have absolutely taken off, okay? Something like that would have been revolutionary. Why didn't it take off? All right, why not? Interesting, huh? Interesting indeed. All these different things. If it doesn't make sense, there's a reason why it doesn't make sense, okay? Early voice recording and playback machines. Before recording technology was common, the fair showcased machines capable of recording and playing back human speech. Some of these devices mysteriously disappeared, leading to speculation about suppression by competitors or limitations in mass production. Mysterious light bulbs that lasted longer than normal. That's another thing, man, is light bulbs that lasted way longer than normal. They don't want that, again, because, possibly due to industrial suppression, because they want you to buy light bulbs. There's actually a real-world example of something like that with the battery. The battery that is still going. Or is it a light bulb? Oh, there's this thing that hasn't burnt out. It's the battery. World's longest running battery. Right here, you see it, and it's still working. 175 years old. This battery has lasted 175 years, and no one knows how. All right? It says a battery-powered bell at Oxford University has been continuously ringing for the last 175 years. No one knows what the battery is made out of, and no one wants to take the device apart to figure it out. So there you go. It's quite interesting, right? That things like that can exist, but they don't exist. All right, look back in the 80s and look back to the 90s. The things that are still, you can go and get a Walkman today, and it'll still play. The only thing you might have to get is a new belt, all right? Because they're made out of rubber and they loose after a while. And mind you, the cassettes will still play, but at a slower speed, and the voice will be all low and stuff. So just get a new belt, and it'll still run, But now, with the new technology, you go and get, something, from 8 years ago, and it won't even work. Look, even in 2006, you got these Xbox 360s just burning out, man, dying. But you can go and get a I had my an Xbox here, but still do, but the disk drive went out, right? Disk drive went out. And then for example, people would get red rings and they burn out and stuff, but I had an Atari, all right, 2600, all right, one of these guys. Literally, all right, when it came out, and it released in 1977, and that shit worked. All right, I had it for years, all right, and then, one of the fuck-ass roommates I had ended up was changing his oil, and I had it in a box, and he put an oil pan on top of it, leaked everything, got in there, and it probably still would have fucking worked, but I threw it away because all the games and everything was just coated in oil, and I didn't want to deal with it. But that still worked from literally, I had it up until probably 2015, so 2015 minus, or 2014, I'll be generous, let's say 19 minus 1977, that 37 years. Okay, 37 years. Meanwhile, the Xbox that I had was probably like 2008. All right, it wasn't the first model. So 20, and it died like last year. So it's only 16 years. All right. Meanwhile, I got this thing. I had this thing for damn near 40 years later, still working. They make things, what do they call it? It's what do they call it? Planned obsolescence. All right, it's planned to be obsolete. It's planned to break. Okay, that's why phones, they're fragile now. I mean, you used to be able to take a Nokia and you could damn near kill a man with that. All right, Run to the store, kill a man with that. All right, throw it off of a bridge, dive down, a shark grabs it. All right, wrestle it from the shark. All right, then get on a plane. It falls from the plane, hits the ground. You get up and you can still make a call from that shit. Rolling over by a car still works. Now, oh no, you dropped me too hard. I'm not gonna turn on anymore. All right, with one of these new phones. It's ridiculous, man. So yeah, things like that absolutely do exist. Okay, so let's get Job 13:4. It says, it's fucking annoying. God damn. It's not an instrumental. It's just fucking ruckus. Anyway, Slakia. Job 13:4. It says, "Ye are forgers of lies. Ye are all physicians of no value." So they're forgers of lies. All right, if you're a forger of something, that means you make something. All right, you create them, you put them into place. All right, if I was forging, a forger of what example? If I forged a book, all right, I would have made the book. You usually don't use it like that. You use forging a lot for like metal work. All right, you forged a sword, you forged a hammer, all right, or a nail, or different things, right? But they are forgers of lies. And it goes on to say, "You are all physicians of no value," and a physician is a medical practitioner. So it goes to show you, not only are they liars, they're also of no value medically, all right, medicinally wise. And going back in, how the Chicago Fair had all these big league banking families. Another thing I want to touch on, and I've touched on it before, but I want to touch on it again soon, is it mentioned John D. Rockefeller in this event. Well, John D. Rockefeller was also known to be the one that basically put in modern medicine, all right, by vilifying. You can go look at that word. All right, vilifying. All right, speaking or write about something abusively disparaging, to defame, to run down. All right, to berate, to belittle. All right, to speak evil of. All right, to criticize. All right, he basically vilified natural medicine, okay, and made it say, "Oh no, it's just quackery. It's just quackery. It's not scientific," and it's all because he wanted it. It was an early what's the word that they use for it? Early synthesized version of vitamin C. You can look up the first what was the first vitamin to be synthesized. It was vitamin C. They say it was ascorbic acid. I heard it was vitamin C. Yeah, right here. Vitamin C was discovered in 1912 and isolated in 1928. And in 1933 was the first vitamin to be chemically produced. There you go. That was the first vitamin to be chemically produced just by chemicals. And while you could not patent an orange, you could patent vitamin C as if you called it something, right? And that was his goal, was to start, synthesizing chemicals and calling them medicine and passing them off so we can get money, all right? And health has severely declined since these quote-unquote medicines were discovered, right? So let's continue on here and get rid of that. So what else do we have? Let me grab another drink. Now, number 8, the disappearing automobiles. Though automobiles were still in their infancy, rumors spread about a strange car-like machine that was faster and quieter than the others. Some believe it was an early electric or even steam-powered vehicle, but its existence was never fully documented, right? The first ever remote-controlled boat. It says Tesla demonstrated a radio-controlled boat at the fair, which was so advanced people thought he was using magic or mind control. Since radio waves were not widely understood, some dismissed it as a trick, and the idea of remote-controlled vehicles didn't resurface seriously for years. Again, man, people thought it was a trick. And 10. Arc lights that were brighter than anything seen before. The fair featured incredibly powerful arc lights, far brighter than standard bulbs. Some claim they were unnaturally bright, almost resembling daylight. While arc lights did exist, some believe the ones at the fair were using a different type of advanced filament or power source that was never publicly explained. You mean artificial daylight to an extreme. And you got to realize they try to do that with places here, like here in Vegas, all right? And they you know, they put lights in different things. The Miracle Mile shops that are one of the big ones that do it. Yeah, here you go. So you can see this, right? And this picture could be taken at night, right? It's artificial skyline, all right? They have lights in there, and with the casinos and all these different places, what they do is they pump in pure oxygen, right? Scented flavored oxygen. So that scent you smell, what is that scent? What is that scent that smells so good there? You know, it smells, you know, different. Well, it's pure oxygen, all right, and they do it to keep you awake because, you know, pure oxygen does something. It's like energetic, all right. It makes you stay awake, and you can see more photos of the Miracle Mile shop here, all right, in different places. So it's a pretty cool place to go to. All right, I've been there, but yeah, man, it's all indoor. All right, it looks like it's outdoor. It's not. You know, they have all these different, you know, things in Vegas that they try out, and there's certain things that we probably don't even know about. Now it says, what happened to these inventions? Many of these inventions seem to disappear because of industrial suppression, all right, companies protecting their own interests, lack of funding, technology being too early for its time, or mysterious circumstances like Tesla's lost invention. And I have one more bonus one, and then we're gonna get these scriptures and cut off. How about you didn't mention early cloud seeding that was done. The artificial lightning or something. I remember reading about that. Yes, you're right. There was indeed some early experimentation with weather manipulation at the 1893 World's Fair, which got overshadowed by some of the more famous inventions, but it's pretty fascinating. Early cloud seeding and artificial lighting. One of the most mysterious and controversial experiments that took place at the fair was artificial lightning, that which some believers and what some believe was an attempt at cloud seeding. Artificial lighting. Tesla had a massive demonstration at the fair where he showed off his work with electricity and high voltage currents. The most mind-blowing part of his display was artificial lighting created by his Tesla coil. So there you go. You can see these things in cloud seeding. While cloud seeding wasn't an official practice at the time, there are theories that Tesla might have been experimenting with weather manipulation, especially considering his obsession with energy and natural forces. Tesla himself was interested in harnessing the forces of nature in a way that no one else had considered. Given that Tesla had a keen interest in wireless energy transfer, it wouldn't be out of the realm of the possibility he was experimenting with atmospheric conditions in some way. So there you go. They all disappeared, though. They all disappeared. So that's what these devils do, man. And it's just, they all disappeared? Why do all these things disappear? All right? Why do all these things disappear? That's just interesting, isn't it? All these things. Nothing more than just temporary. Interesting. Very, very interesting. And, souvenir map from 1893 Jackson Park and left hosted. Interesting. Interesting indeed. So. Fuck you. A mammothon display. Notable firsts. That's interesting. A lot of different things in here. Cream of wheat was revealed. The brownie was invented by Bertha Palmer for the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition. I didn't know that. Milton Hershey bought a European exhibitor's chocolate manufacturing equipment and added chocolate products to his caramel manufacturing business. So there you go. Juicy fruit gum, Quaker oat, shredded wheat, Pabst Blue Ribbon, peanut butter. Aunt Jemima pancake mix was widely popularized by spokesperson Nancy Green's pancake cooking and storytelling. Cracker Jacks, Vienna sausages. There you go. Helen Keller was there apparently. The elongated coin, the squash penny, the Ferris wheel. Interesting indeed. Interesting. Harry Houdini was there apparently. Just a very, 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 very interesting situation at hand. So again, they're liars and they cover things up. All right, and again, so Proverbs 14 and 15: the simple believeth every word, but the prudent man looketh well to his going. And this goes for scripture, and it goes for things that you're being told out there as well. You should look things up, because there's no way in hell that everything just disappeared. All right, nothing at all. Here it is. They have pictures of what pictures survived from the place. They have certain souvenir maps, but everything else important of any importance, it seems like the things that weren't important survived, but the important things didn't survive. That's coincidental, isn't it? Pretty big coincidence that all the normal stuff, yeah, that survived, whatever. Yeah, we know about that. But all the crazy stuff just went away, disappeared seemingly. All right, literally, seemingly overnight. So this is Luke 8 and 17. All right, because these devils love to hide these things. They love to hide different things that they've done, different technological advancements. But look, you devils are going to be revealed, and all these things are going to be revealed in time. Maybe not exactly how they were done, but there could be a way that the Lord has it to where we get like a snapshot of everything that was done, right? And the cover-ups and different mysteries, right, and histories, how it really was. And these devils, man, you're the exact details right now of what exactly happened at these fairs and different other things, right, that happen out there might not be known, but it will be known that a lie was being had, right? So Luke 8 and 17 says, for nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad. Now again, you tried to suppress the knowledge of these things. Now the knowledge is out there. It just says, oh, they may not be real, or these things disappeared. You didn't want those things to be known at all. All right, you didn't want anything to be known about a DEW, a direct energy weapon. All right, you didn't want anything to be known about, early electrical vehicles and stuff. No, because those are new inventions. They're not new. All right, they've been around. And where did you get that technology from? All right, it's not like it seemingly just popped up. And that's why, as we get closer and closer to the end, you're not seeing any technological marvels as we used to see. If you even look at graphics cards, from the late 1990s to 2005, big leaps. 2005 to 2008, big leaps. 2008 to 2010, big leap. And then as we kept on getting further and further and further, I mean, look at the phones, man. They kept on jumping and jumping and jumping, and now it's like, oh, we get a new feature. It's basically the same thing, maybe a little bit faster, but it's not anything that's anything to marvel about. It's not anything crazy important. It's only, minor, as they would say, what is it? Diminishing, what is it? What do they call it? Slakia. You get like diminishing returns, right? You're things that are negligible, all right? Things went from being 1.2 fast to 1.3. It's like, okay, well, that's just negligible at this point. All right, it's a little bit faster, sure, but it's not like back in the day where you'd go from, having something like a single cell processor to a quad core, and you're like, whoa, that fucking blew my mind, right? And it's not like that anymore. So now it's just diminishing returns. So Obadiah 1 and 6 reads, how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? And Esau loves to cover things up. We know who this devil is. And their things are getting brought out. All the things that they didn't want to be known are becoming known. All right, who they are. All right, that's what the biggest thing that they didn't want to be known. Well, the biggest thing they didn't want to be known is who we are, because we know who we are, we know who they are. That's the biggest thing that they didn't want to be, known. And it's being, it's being sought up. It's being found out. And you don't like it. And you can't try. You can try to cover up all these other things, but the Lord will not let you cover up the truth. All right, you are simply out. It is out of your control. All right. And then finally, this is a future prophecy talking about, when Esau's cast out here. But I wanted to read it just because of what it says, what they did. So this is Revelation 12 and 9. It says, and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil, so you saw him, and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Now, again, going back to deceive the whole world, another scripture mentions about to gather. Let me see if I can get it. This is after the 1,000 years. So there was a 1,000-year period where Esau was under Jacob's rule, okay? Under Jacob's rule, and, you know, i.e. the Dark Ages, okay? And that's, you know, there's a lot of periods of history that are missing from, again, disappearing parts of history that are unaccounted for. What happened in those years, we don't know. What is true about the Dark Ages? Guess we don't really know. They try to hide a lot about what the Dark Ages, and they say it was dark because of, it was a dark time. Why was it a dark time? Because Jake was in rulership, all right, and you didn't like it. But it was really Dark Ages because, you know, dark people were in rule, okay? But you called it dark because, it was dark times, death times, it was bad times, dark, it was darkness, surrounded by darkness, right? No, that's not what it was. It was 1,000 years of your captivity. And after that, you went forth, all right, that you were freed from that being chained in that for that 1,000 years, chained down to servitude in your brother. But after that, Revelation 20:8, what did you go and do? It says, let's go from verse 6. It says, blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death hath no power, but they shall be priests of Yahweh and of Hamashiach, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations. And that's what they did. You know, they went on that whole iconoclasm run, all right? That's marks the period of the Renaissance, all right? Or early Renaissance, or the rebirth. Okay, and that's what Renaissance means, the rebirth. All right, what does Renaissance mean? And Renaissance, a revival. All right, a revival or renewed interest in something, a revival of something. All right, what is it the revival of? All right, Esau's reign. All right, revival. So it says, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, all right, that's talking about Russia and the land of Russia, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. So again, that's what they're doing right now. You see all this tension between Esau and Gog, all right, and it's really just, you know, they're relatives at the end of the day. But that's why you see, you know, Gog being Russia, there's all this tension and animosity right now, because this is going to happen. All right, it is going to happen. But yeah, man, so the World Fair, all right, as it was, you know, in Columbia, was all just a big setup, man, by these big banking families. And I don't know, man, you can't tell me that's just temporary. There's no way in hell. There's no way in hell. All right, not with that amount of detail. Just to do all that work, man, just to tear it right down. I don't buy it, and neither should you. So that's where we're gonna go ahead and close out. You know, if you have any questions or anything like that, you know, drop them down below. I implore you to go and research more about this. I didn't touch on everything about this. There's more out there. There's a lot, and there's more stuff. There's tons of different things, man, out there that are, you know, we don't know exactly what these Edomites are capable of. There's a lot of things that are being hid. Okay. You got to think about all parts of Antarctica you just can't go to. Why is that? All right. Some maps say there's parts of Antarctica that apparently do not exist on maps. So what's going on in those parts? Esau got some going down over there? Don't know what's exactly going on. All right. I'm sure we'll find out, you know, when the Lord comes back. But these devils, man, they're very secretive. They like, you know, being hidden. You know, they have their, you know, the secret councils of the wicked. Which who knows where those even take place, man. Some island that we don't even know about, right? Some place that we don't even know about. There could be more of the U.S. map that we don't even know about, or the world map that we don't know about. Parts of Antarctica that they're hanging out in, that, or another landmass that's apparently, I think I saw something about on a map, old map. There's parts of Antarctica or something that was not even mapped yet. Or Antarctica wasn't mapped, and of course they had Antarctica on there before it was discovered. And then there's also parts, there's another map I saw which showed something past an ice wall, all right, in Antarctica. So who knows what's going down over there? Is that something the Edomites are messing around with, or is that something that perhaps the Lord has on lock, and the devils are trying to get there, but they can't get over there, and who knows what if that's the case, who knows what the Lord has there? So there's a lot of different things that we don't know, and really salvation is at the highest, most importance. But these things, you know, they bring question to your mind, all right, and they're a brain workout, thinking about these things and thinking about all the things that Esau has hidden, and giving you, you know, more reason to not trust these devils. because there's no way in hell that this just was all temporary and all these things just burn up and all these documents and records and all these things never happen. It's just interesting indeed. So I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Dash. I want to say shalom to you brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring, keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Until next one, Lord willing, shalom.